The title of this podcast is Don't Wake Up the Next Morning at War. When I was going through things in my life, or rather, should I say, when I was unaware that my mind was bothering me about things in my life, that was a place and a time period in which I experienced a lot of suffering. And it went on for decades. I was truly unaware that I was the one who was doing this to myself. I had no clue. I was sure it was everything but me. Different people, from my stepfather to people at school, to later to people at work, to my partner in relationships, to friendships that I thought I was being let down by. All those things, I would go to bed with it on my mind after having been bothered by it throughout the day, to waking up with it waiting for me. I tell people, of what it used to be like when I was being at the effect of my mind's default settings for my ego, which for me are judging, complaining, wishing things were different, um, going through the world looking for what's missing in both people and situations and how can I improve them. They should be this way. Being a perfectionist, which was not only a high cost to myself, but of the people, unknowingly making them have to live up to it, unbeknownst to them. And so when I go to bed at night with things in my mind, with this long to-do list of things that I got to do the next day, I'll go to bed with all of that on me. Oh, don't forget, I don't want to fail to mention another thing that was a big fear of mine, which was a fear of not realizing my full potential. That was another one that I'll never get there, and being bothered and upset by that. So I would go to bed, and by some miracle, I would get some sleep that night. The moment that my eyes opened, it was as if I would come to, and on the other side of the bed, laying on a pillow, sitting up on elbow, would be this presence that would be saying, "We've been waiting for you all night to wake up. Let's get started." And that presence would be a form of worry and obsessive thinking for me. And before I even was able to fully like wipe the sleep or rub the sleep out of my eyes, it would be on me. And we're off to the races for the whole day. It was as if I had no moment to choose what kind of day I was going to have. It was already set for me that it was going to be worry. So this is what I mean by the title of being careful that you don't wake up the next morning at war. And it's not war with the outside world. It's not war with your spouse or people in your lives or your kids or work. It's war with what's going on inside of you. That's what you have control over. You got no control over anything else outside of you, but you have control over you. And once I became aware of that, and it took a long time because I did this for decades of doing that kind of business to where I would wake up at war internally, thinking that it was at war with things outside, including, checking things off this very long and daunting to-do list that I made up. Once I became aware that this is how I was waking up, I said to myself that the most important thing for me to do every single day was to cultivate inner peace inside. And the key to that, which led to the next thing, how do I do this? The next thing I do is whatever shows up, to work on being able to handle it. How do I be able to handle it? To not allow my mind to make it a problem. Somebody says something to me that my mind says is a problem. It's up to me whether or not I take that on or not. Somebody yells at me, goes off on me. I see that as an opportunity to make sure that my inner peace is not at the effect of how somebody talks to me or not doing it. They talk to me however they do. I said, man, this is a great practice because I'm sure in the future there are going to be people that talk to me and say things that my mind will not like. Might as well get used to being able to handle it right now. I want to learn how to do that right now. And I use that as a moment to do that. I'm going to be in meetings where I worked on a project. I put a lot of energy into it, and people are going to give me feedback on the project. Tone may not be great. They may not have prepared me for what they're going to say. Good. I'm going to have plenty of opportunities to deal with it, exactly that in the future. So I might as well use this moment to deal with it. There's going to be unsaid or unexpressed expectations or agreements that I'm going to have with people about how they should show up, whether it's being on time or doing it a certain way, and they won't do it. It won't be the last time. So I need to work on being able to handle that. And so the more and more I do this, not being happy where I live, the weather being too hot, the meeting starting late, me running late, the driver in front of me not driving the way that I think they should be driving, spouse not remembering your birthday or a date or whatever the case may be, it's going to be something, because that's what life is filled with. It's up to me whether or not I go to war with those situations, and whether I take that to bed with me and I wake up with it the next morning. And what I said, the game that I'm playing, the life experiences I want to have internally, I'm not playing that game anymore. I am done making everything a problem. I'm done going to bed with problems and waking up with them. It's done. Now, there are going to be challenges I'm going to have to deal with. And they're just that. They're challenges, they're opportunities for me to deal with it the best way I can in this moment. And if I don't deal with it well, I'm going to get some practice. And life will give me another opportunity, another shot to work on it again. And hopefully the next time I'll be better. But here's what I do know is if I don't work on myself, I will not be better the next time. But if I work on myself, I increase the likelihood of being able to handle it better, being able to raise the moment better. One of my friends I talked to this morning is about to embark on a 2-week vacation. And they've been doing a well-being practice for a year now. And last night, with 4 kids at home, they had a plumbing problem, a big plumbing problem. And for a moment, they were bothered by it. And then they fell into gratitude. They were grateful that they had savings to deal with it in case the insurance company said that it was not covered. They have parents who are going to be in town while they're on vacation who said that they could help. While there's no running water in the house now, they're aware that they could have come back from vacation to a flooded house with all kinds of water damage and mold, potential mold, and having to deal with that 2 days before the kids return to school. But it happened before that. So they're finding ways to be grateful in the moment. And the reason that they can do that and not be at war this morning when they woke up, the reason that they can do that is because they use all the small events before this one to be able to handle this big event. It was only a few months ago that they had an electrical problem, that they had to be without power at their home while they were at a conference somewhere else, that they used that as an opportunity. And that helped them with this experience. And so when they woke up this morning, they told me that they were more peaceful than they thought they would have been, because they certainly wouldn't have been in the past. And so that's an example of using the moment in front of you to let go of yourself so that you're not at war throughout the day. Like, that's a choice of whether you do that. Just because it's a mess on the outside doesn't mean it has to be one on the inside. And that's the part that I have control over. So do whatever it takes, but hopefully you'll do like I did 8.5 years ago, which is make a commitment that when you wake up in the morning, there won't be this presence on the other side of your bed that's looking at you, waiting for you to wake up. When I wake up in the morning now, what's waiting for me is just like, Keith, wake up. It says, good morning, my love. We've been waiting for you all morning. Let's go have some amazing experiences. Practice gratitude throughout. Be filled with joy with what you see, and to live with an open heart throughout this entire day. And by the way, keep sprinkling kindness. I'm like, I'm on it. Jump out of bed. Let's get to work.